This is Oluyole 98.5 FM on the stables of the Broadcasting Corporation of Oyo State. Welcome you to Conversation, where we bring you stories making the major headlines in the dailies. We do our best to give you top-notch analysis. In due course, we get to open the phone lines to also get to be a part of the flow. We share our thoughts, views, and opinions regarding those major headlines as reported by the dailies, Mondays to Saturdays, except Sundays. We are here. And that's why the program is called Conversation. What you'll be hearing from us, like I said, our thoughts, views, and opinions, not the corporate views of the Broadcasting Corporation of Oyo State. Once again, wherever you are listening across the world, you are welcome. My name is Tola Teriba.
It's the dawn of a new day. Yesterday is gone. Yesterday is history. Tomorrow is not yet here. Tomorrow remains history. Tomorrow is not yet here, but we've got today. And today is the reality. And we're thankful to God for the gift of life that He has given to us. Joe, better than war. We are here to give top-notch analysis. Stories making the rounds captured in the national dailies in Nigeria. And we do our best also. We're also guided with the principles of professionalism and objectivity. I am Seun welcoming you to Conversation this day.
Straight to the major headlines this morning. I have a banner headline before me. It says DSS, EFCC, ICPC vet Supreme Court nominees. And Riders NJC, as National Judicial Council, unveils 11-man list Thursday. New head of courts, judges to emerge, and Adeleke's complaints against Osun CJ under review. As Governor Adeleke and the Osun State Chief Judge now.
Well, positive developments. 11, I'm not too impressed if we could have more than that, considering the lingering cases and the cases to be decided by the apex court and the number of justices that we have in that court, the lordships, so few. But it's a positive one. 11 added, hopefully.
And on COVID-19, Reps Committee uncover more infractions as health institutions make presentations. Now, from what is unfolding on the floor of the House of Representatives, it looks like COVID-19 interventions were nothing short of sharing of the cake by the agencies involved. There's the Public Accounts Committee, PAC of the House of Representatives, investigating the alleged mismanagement of the COVID-19 information funds from 2020 to 2021 by the ministries, departments, and agencies, MDAs of the federal government on Friday, again uncovered several infractions in the presentation submitted before it by some health institutions across the country. From the several billions of naira allocated to each of them to fight the dreaded disease, the committee being chaired by Representative Bamidele Salam noted that the level of infractions discovered were grievous enough to make the accounting officers of the concerned institutions lose their jobs or even land them in correctional centers. So why hasn't that happened? Why does it have to take the House of Representatives to begin to uncover some of these things? Like I said, it was more of the sharing of the cake between the MDAs, personnel of the MDAs. I remember the number of doctors that would have to pay the supreme price in the heat of COVID-19 simply because the most basic of their needs and requirements, protective gear, was not even available at the time. And now we are hearing that billions were actually voted for some of these things.
Well, again, the sorry state of the country, and unfortunately, some of the things they find in our country as a whole, and that has damaged our image even globally. Corruption. It appears to be free for all. And for the lower level, you have the pilferage of resources, and those who are up there have access to the billions and trillions. They also doing themselves some good by cutting away those, siphoning them. It's rather unfortunate. And that is what is manifesting again. It appears unending. And you wonder when that will stop. A disaster, a pandemic occurred globally, resulted in deaths of people, casualties here and there. Intervention from government, intervention from other international institutions, things worked well in other climes, but here in Nigeria, to some, the COVID-19 era should not even stop, not because they want to eradicate the ailment completely, but because of the money they are stealing from it.
Right. FIRS, Federal Inland Revenue Service, waives penalties interest on outstanding tax liabilities. Well, maybe that will encourage people who are the erring and persons and organizations to remit their tax. Intel's waived 193 million naira debt to the service boat contract, and that's coming from the Nigeria Ports Authority.
Well, Intel. Before now, when you mention Intel or Intels in Nigeria, a particular
name comes to mind.
Yes.
A particular big name.
Yes. But that name, well, I think that name has dissociated himself from that international firm, Intel. The name is saying this morning, I won't benefit from federal government reinstatement of Intel's contract.
Oh.
He sold his shares.
Was he asked? Why is he making that clarification?
Maybe they thought they were doing him a favor. Recall that during the Buhari administration, I think there was a frosty relationship between the duo, of them, the then president and the former vice president of Nigeria. Okay. So, and some contracts were not re-awarded, or certain things were stopped, where Intels used to have some sort of monopoly and edge over others, when government had permitted for years. And that government seems to have stopped a number of areas or opportunities for Intel. So, and sometimes when they fight the rough fight in public, sometimes you think it's all about politics. Some business interests could also be there. You don't know why they are saying, you must go, I must get you out, you must not win. So other interests could be underneath. Perhaps that's one of those things that caused their crisis then. So now that the new government is in town, they thought perhaps, maybe they felt they could help appease the former vice president by reinstating some of the contracts that were stopped.
I thought they said they should rear goats and sheep.
And that one is just a mere should I call it reckless
political
utterances. So they may not really mean it. It is more than rearing cattle and sheep. Yes, a conglomerate.
Oh, the former president rears cattle.
One of the businesses.
On a large scale.
One of the business, perhaps the one they want the
and
public
he said he was
to
going
really
back
know
to cattle.
For Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, well, I've mentioned his name now. His own business enclave is far beyond rearing of cattle and sheep and goats.
Well, he belongs to that ethnic nationality that is known for.
He has some.
Cattle.
Yes, from impeccable source. He has cattle. It's like their exclusive right. If you belong to you understand? If you belong to that ethnic nationality,
and you are rich,
no matter how prosperous you are,
it would be odd not to rear cattle.
Yes, you must have it attached to you. You get it. I think it's a tradition for them, and it's culture based, and there's nothing wrong with that. If not, we won't have the beef in the quantity that we have in this country. If not that these people are really adhering to that tradition of rearing cattle. So he's not benefiting from the contract reinstatement because he had sold, according to him, his shares in Intels.
Let's have this commercial break. We'll be back.
Oga Carpenter, 3 weeks and my chair is still not ready.
But why are you doing this now?
Solomon, is this cough?
This your cough is really bad. But have you seen a doctor?
No.
See, I was tested once. I had TB and was treated for free. Oga Carpenter, if you want your life back, check am o, make you dey sure, because who no go, no go know.
Check that cough for tuberculosis.
If your cough is more than 2 weeks, it could be tuberculosis. TB test and TB treatment are free. Just call the National TB Hotline on 3340 or dial *3340# for more information. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Health with support from the American people.
Mákindé kórè dànù. mo rí.
àní ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀.
ìjọba ìpínlẹ̀ ọ̀yọ́ lábẹ́ ìṣèjọba gómìnà mákindé ti ṣe àgbékalẹ̀ ètò ìrànwọ́ owó ẹlẹ́ẹ̀ẹ́dẹ́gbẹ̀ta mílíọ̀nù náírà lábẹ́ ètò kórìmọ́tàlú sefa. ètò ìrànwọ́ owó yìí wà fún àwọn oníṣẹ́ ọwọ́ àti olókoòwò kéékèèké ní ìpínlẹ̀ ọ̀yọ́. ọ̀fẹ́ sì ni fọ́ọ̀mù láti sanwó fẹ́nikẹ́ni. ìwọ náà dìde fúyà láti gba fọ́ọ̀mù rẹ lónìí láwọn ilé ìfowópamọ́ yíká gbogbo ẹkùn ìdìbò tó wà ní ìpínlẹ̀ ọ̀yọ́. fún ẹkùn ìbàdàn full range microfinance bank ìwó road ìbàdàn àti òkè bọ́nà microfinance bank òkè àdó ìbàdàn. fún ẹkùn ọ̀yọ́ ìsàlẹ̀ ọ̀yọ́ microfinance bank ọ̀yọ́. fún ẹkùn ìbàràpá excel microfinance bank èrúwà. nẹ́kùn ògbómọ̀ṣọ́ katikas microfinance bank katika ògbómọ̀ṣọ́. nẹ́kùn òkè ògùn zone 2 katuba microfinance bank saki. nẹ́kùn òkè ògùn zone 1 ẹ̀bẹ̀dì microfinance bank ìṣẹ́yìn. kí ló tún dúró dè? tètè lọ gba fọ́ọ̀mù tiẹ̀ náà lónìí. àmọ́ o rí dájú pé o tẹ̀lé ìlànà àti òfin tó rọ̀ mọ́ ìlànà ètò ìrànwọ́ owó sefa ìtura ìpínlẹ̀ ọ̀yọ́.
Guy, if I tell you all this plenty airtime and data, where they take flex? Now dash glow dash me, you go believe.
Dash get for this kind of economy. I beg you.
Dey there now. As I buy my glow sim like this, spirit, I first collect 1,000 naira welcome bonus, Sarah. As I come recharge, bam, glow knock me 10 times airtime bonus. I also enjoy double data. Join.
Wait, oh, you mean 1,000 naira welcome bonus?
Yes.
Plus 10 times airtime bonus?
Yes.
Plus double data again?
Yes.
For which universe now?
The glow break the universe now. You want try?
Oh, mo, no wonder boys they flex anyhow on top phone 247 non-stop. Hey, I talk am.
My people, not let grass grow under your Lego. Go get your glow sim today. Dial *777# to buy and enjoy 10 times airtime bonus plus up to double data. Offer day for both new and existing subscribers there. Unlimited.
All right, we're back. I'm glad to know you are still there. The program is still conversation. All right, this one says, reject Wike's plan. Reject Wike's plan to spend 15 billion naira on Vice President's residence. Serap tells Akpabio. And well, the story is that Mr. Wike intends to spend 15 billion naira for what he called a befitting residence for the Vice President of this country. And my question is, what has made the current residence of the Vice President to become unbefitting? So that what has made the current residence of the to become unbefitting, such that Mr. Wike now wants to spend 15 billion to build a befitting residence? Maybe you can answer the question, Joe.
I don't know. I just don't know. Considering the economic realities of this time, people are suffering, no money in town, poverty is on the increase. These people are so shameless. Well, maybe a good one, the befitting, yes, you could even build heaven on earth, if that is what you would consider to be befitting to yourself as a minister or to the exalted position of the vice president or president of this country. Yes, if you like, bring the kingdom, let the kingdom be built here in Nigeria so that they can have enough space, enough gyration, enough enjoyment that they so deserve, because we have elected them to be in those offices. Abi, they are the privileged ones, special ones amongst Nigerians. Yes, president, vice president, ministers, senators. The senators could have, yes, they could still have more of SUVs.
Oh, they are special, Shio, if it's about being special.
By their own conviction and by their antecedents and actions.
And they are privileged citizens.
They are only special because they have access to the vaults where we keep our money.
Yeah, that makes
they have
special.
the keys to the treasuries. That's what makes them special, because they have executive powers, they have legislative powers. They call the shot. They determine what goes to where and who gets what, and they equally determine what they get from the national cake. There is no cake again. They are not even baking anything. It's the one that is on ground that they are sharing.
Seun, Mr. Wike is also intends to spend 2.8 billion naira on publicity for the Federal Capital Territory (FCTA).
Publicity. Well, I am not surprised.
For 2023.
I am not surprised. Look at his antecedent. He brings the studio to him. You bring the studio of the station to him in Port Harcourt when he was the governor there.
Virtually to his living room.
Yes. You can even bring the television station to him. So when he talks about publicity, I am not surprised. Look at the other advert they made in one of the national dailies the other time. So bulky, voluminous. Those who are defaulted, or those who are owing the FCT, those who have not paid their rent or dues. And you had this newspaper advert. Over 100 pages. And you could imagine the amount one page would cost to get that published.
Well, if those media spendings will be getting the desired results, well, by all means, let him spend the money.
Prudence is required at this time. You cannot just be spending as if you are picking the monies on the streets. As if people don't work for that money. Yes, we know you may not work for the money. You are just pretending over the money.
I wanted to say that.
You don't work for it. Because you are just benefiting from the efforts, from the sweats of others.
And just because you don't have the keys to the treasury doesn't mean that they have difficulty accessing the treasury too.
That's wrong. Insensitive. Highly insensitive. Monkeys they walk, baboons they chop.
Well, they didn't say they wanted to chop the money. The study says on the VP's residence and on publicity for the FCT.
To build a whole city, modern city. Go to my village there. To transform it to a big city, you don't spend up to 10 billion. You can spend up to 10 billion naira.
15 billion naira for the comfort of the vice president.
You want to give him a state? You want to use a whole state, the landmass of a whole state, to build residential or whatever edifice for the vice president?
Yet, ASU is unreasonable for asking for the revitalization of universities.
These people won't stop infuriating us with their reckless statements and reckless spendings. Why? When will this stop? What is our crime for electing you there? You've been there all this while. From governor to this, from senator to this. You do the rotation. You are only the ones within the circle throwing yourself up for political positions, elective positions. You don't retire.
Let's move on, Seun. There are still other stories to talk about.
This is pathetic. You want to sell the one is living now, or you want to dash that out to who? Or maybe the minister of the FCC will inherit that.
I also have this one that says experts worry as debt servicing gulp more money than infrastructure orders in 2024 budget. So if you are infuriated with the FCT minister, I wonder what you would have to say about this. Debt servicing gulps more money than infrastructure orders in 2024 budget. Penny wise, pound foolish.
It's so unfortunate. Where you expect to see wisdom, to find wisdom, you find the opposite there. And the recklessness, the impunity at which they do these things. They treat us as if we are non-entities.
We have to pay.
No respect for the commoners.
We have to pay our debts. That's not about recklessness and impunity.
I will see. I am still referring to the former, this other story that you mentioned. Them spending so amount of money on this and that.
Talk about debt servicing.
Now, debt servicing.
Leave Mr.
Debt servicing. Debt servicing. We are talking again. Look at the amount we are using to service our debt yearly, more than the capital projects money allocated for capital projects. You are using a large chunk.
And the question is why?
Of your budget yearly to service debt. Not even the repayment. Servicing of the debt.
Just servicing.
Servicing of the debt. Not even repayment. And the proclivity for borrowing still continues.
And yet we cannot really see the results of the borrowing.
How will you see when they want to spend 15 billion on just one structure? I don't know. If you are to build even White House now in Nigeria, must you have such a replica of White House in Nigeria?
They said befitting.
Befitting.
And that befitting was underlined.
Okay, all the walls will be plated with gold, or what? Is that what you think of befitting?
Well, maybe, because I know the one he resides in presently cannot be unbefitting. Cannot possibly. Maybe it's people like us. Maybe it is okay, but then for them, you know,
they befitting. Okay. When you say befitting, they could also use some part of the money for the spiritual exercise. You know, this rhetoric or narrative that some spirits are within the villa and they cause one mishap or disaster.
Well, part of it could be built in the skies.
Incidents. To the skies.
Maybe part of the building will be
suspended. Suspended building, a befitting one. And you want to use such amount of service debt? How much have you devoted or allocated for capital project? You talk of electricity, you talk of the roads, you talk of transportation, you talk of the aviation sector, you talk of education, you talk of all the critical sectors in this country. Neglected, lip service, lackadaisical attitude.
Well, sure. There's another.
And you want to spend so billion on publicity? Publicity on what? To do what? What useless publicity are you giving when you are not performing? Your performance should be a form of publicity. People will see and talk. You don't need to go pay. That's propaganda.
Sure. Hold your peace. There's another story, yet another story this morning that will probably infuriate you even further, if it is anything to go by anyway. PDP knocks Tinubu's climate change summit delegation, calls for National Assembly investigation, and the story is that the government is sponsoring 1,411 delegates to the climate change summit in Dubai. But the presidency has defended itself, saying not all delegates are sponsored by the government.
1,411 delegates.
Yes, are going in the in the name of the Nigerian government, but the president says
climate change summit. A summit.
Well, let's take a few excerpts from the story.
The story is this morning.
Well, it says
they can suffocate someone.
The People's Democratic Party (PDP) has faulted President Bola Tinubu's over-bloated delegation to the conference of the party's COP28 in Dubai, United Arab Emirates. The party alleged in a statement by Debo Ologunagba, its national policy secretary, on Monday that the delegation is filled with the president's cronies, political minors, and their mistresses at huge expense to the nation. The main opposition party maintained that the large delegation to the conference is a further validation that the Tinubu-led APC administration is wasteful, frivolous, and reckless in the application of the scarce resources of the nation, especially at a time Nigerians are yearning for prudent management of resources to achieve the desired infrastructure regeneration, job creation, and revamping of the economy. Now, however, the federal government has explained that not all Nigerians attended the conference are sponsored by the administration. Now, Mr. Tokwe Ajayi, Special Assistant to the President of Media and Publicity, says it is important to state here that delegates from all countries, whether from government, private sector, media, and civil society groups, attend COP summits and conferences as parties, and the number of attendees are registered against their countries of origin. This does not mean that they are sponsored or funded by the government. It must be said also that the fact that people register to attend the conference does not mean everyone that registered is physically present. As the biggest country in Africa, biggest economy,
biggest country in Africa, biggest economy,
and one
fallacious,
and one with a bigger stake on climate action. As a country with huge extractive economy, it is a no-brainer that delegates from Nigeria will be more than any other country in Africa.
Oh, biggest economy in Africa.
Well, sure. I think the only way to solve
more
this,
concerned when it comes to climate change issues, right?
I think the only way to solve this and perhaps tell Nigerians the true position of things is to tell everyone, well, just how many people are in Dubai on the bill of the Nigerian government. Yes, a comprehensive list of such persons. Their their designations and their specific missions at the conference. Then let's weigh that against the number of government-sponsored delegates, and then try to rationalize the imperativeness or necessity of the situation where the number of delegates are deemed to be excessive based on the average, but not necessarily enforce requirements of the conference regarding the delegates' population for the conference. But I guess the host country, for the host country show, the more the merrier, as it would mean making more money for their own economy. And you can always trust their country, even if the number of government-sponsored delegates from Nigeria is not up to what is being touted by government critics. You can be sure it will be something close to it. And then you want to again ask the question, so how many aircraft would it take to convey 1,411 Nigerian delegates to Dubai? How many airlines would have to be engaged just for Dubai alone? And from my own layman's point of view, I think it is the countries most hit by climate change that should have the most number of delegates, and not really the biggest countries and the biggest economies like the federal government is stating in its somewhat feeble attempt to defend an obviously very high number of government-sponsored delegates. The countries with the biggest stake in climate change should be the countries most hit by the impact of climate change. Sean, we have countries in Africa that have been ravaged by edge-long by the impact of drought, the shrinking of the Lake Chad Basin, and the resultant migrations in the search for reprieve and succor. Yes, Nigeria could also fall into this category, but not as much as the nations of the North African region. So how come we are having such an obviously high number of delegates, even if it is not up to what the PDP is saying?
This is Nigeria. Nigeria, I hail thee. Hey, they just want to give me my grain this morning.
They said not all are, it doesn't mean all are physically present. That's another defense.
Before the issues result to palpitation for me and high blood pressure, and let me hold my peace. Anekaje ikuro ọ̀rọ̀ kó tán láwo wọ́n tún gbọ́ owó ẹ̀ síbẹ̀. What sort of people are we elected into public positions in Nigeria? Not all of them, though, but some of them are perverse irredentists and clowns. They are just jesters. And those who are highly corrupt, they are just looking here and there, running helter-skelter, just to get something to steal, to eat, to chop. For a thief will not come in peace than to destroy and to kill, to maim, and to steal. Well, perhaps a replica, or the best words that suits their actions and perhaps that suits their profile. Having said that, Tola, I was complaining about the other stories you mentioned. Now we have to match this with it. 1,411 delegation. 1,411 man delegation to climate change summit. Okay, the biggest in terms of population. Oh, okay. So what's the ratio in terms of representation? We have over 200 million people in Nigeria. So 1,411, not that much, not too much. If they are picking it, maybe one per constituent or constituency for each local government areas in the country. And you have to add those who are also in government quarters to reach. Maybe. For the fact that we are the most hit, according to them, I think that is fallacious, highly fallacious. I don't know how badly affected we've been.
They didn't say we are the most hit. They said we are the biggest economy. We have the biggest stake, and they also said, and let me see now. They said we have the biggest country in Africa.
After that,
biggest economy, and we're one of the countries with the biggest stake on climate action.
Bigger stake on climate action.
Okay. And they said we're a country with huge extractive economy.
Extractive economy.
So that means that our delegates will be more than any other country in Africa.
Hey, Akika. Well, maybe the effect of climate change, for the benefit of the doubt, or let me play the devil's advocate a bit. Have you not been feeling the effect of climate change in your own area? Have you not been seeing people falling dead on the streets, maybe due to excessive heat or temperature?
I've been feeling the effect of mismanagement of my country's economy. I've been feeling the effect of corruption at high levels, and I've been feeling the effect of insensitive policies, retrogressive policies on the government.
Not the effect, not the damning effect of climate change. No, people are not falling dead on the streets. It's not that the temperature is so high that people will just, if they want to speak like this, they just fall and die. And before you know it, their bones dried, their bodies dried up without environment, without taking them to mortuary because of the excessive heat. It has not gotten to that level.
In fact, you excuse my crass ignorance this morning, but unless perhaps now that the world is talking about climate change and the Nigerian government is sending a delegation to that very important summit, I'm sure I wouldn't know
if there is any change in the climate.
But because they are talking about it, so now I know, and that it's something which the world should be talking about.
Okay, you see, what a shame. What a shame.
Well, at least they admitted that we have the biggest delegation in Africa.
And they are defending that. Although they've said they are not the ones that sponsored all the delegations. Well, the delegates, they should come up with the list of the ones sponsored by government. And I know when that list is out, if they make it public, that is only if it's made public. I don't think that would be made public. If it's made public, maybe you will have to raise more questions than the ones you've asked this morning. 1,411 delegation. That's too huge. But you should also understand that Dubai is a destination of choice. Dubai, United Arab Emirates. Virtually all of them, they want to have a feel, sight and sound of Dubai. What they can't replicate in their own country, they just want to go and have that fun. Some of them, they've dipped their hands into our treasury and they want to go there and spend. You load the funds, siphon some to Dubai. Yes, that has been established. Some are in the habit of sponsoring bad things in Nigeria and they are based in Dubai. So everyone wants to have a feel. So you could also understand why there is interest. Is it Dubai? I will go. Me too. My name must be on the list too. That's one. And another thing is the fact that it's an avenue for those in government to also do certain things unknown to the public. And they could have their meetings. And when you also look at the list of world powers that will be there, you have business engagements with some of these people or countries who would like to go in full force. But that's highly insensitive to the plights of Nigerians. You tell us to make sacrifices, and when we attempt to japa from this country, you almost criminalized us, and you're even proposing litigation or legislation that will stop us from moving to greener pastures. That is for the professionals. But for you in government, you can move and spend government's money, public money, on your voyages and escapades and travel tour, meaningless ones, and you are not bothered. You have that power, you have the prerogative to do that. But for others who are struggling to go make ends meet in other climes, you say it's not good, it's not good, it's not good. Well, you have not made the atmosphere conducive back home. Climate change again. What have you done? Or how have you utilized the God-given resources that we have in this country? You talk of the extractive industry. Look at the climate change you are complaining about. Rain? Excessive? Oh, how excessive? It causes flood? No, that's not what is causing flood in this country for now. It is your mismanagement of certain things that is causing flooding in this country. You talk of irrigation farming. We have not gotten to that level where it's massive, it's in all the states in this country. You talk of energy. You can generate from solar. Are you producing the solar panel to utilize the sun ray, the ray of light from sun? What have you used the climate change to achieve in your own climate? Everybody is talking about renewable energy. Have you tapped into that? You are saying, yeah, a stakeholder. Yeah, you have bigger this, bigger that. What is big in what you have done? You only have biggest or bigger spending spree. That's what you have exhibited.
Seun, now that you mentioned some of the human frivolities on these delegations, now I remember a particular story. Well, it happened in Oyo State. A past governor of the state, well, he's late now, and he was to embark on a trade an economic a trade delegation, so to say. It was to lead a trade delegation to the UK, and one of those was put on that delegation was one of the political hangers on of the government, a man with well, he was a businessman, quite all right, but with a very poor command of the English language, and his only job when they got to the UK was to sit in the apartment, at the entrance of the apartment where the governor was being hosted, and to ward off unwanted visitors. So when those unwanted persons come looking for the governor, he would always say, Ibishi, Ibishi. You know what? Do you know what he was trying to say? Ibishi means he's busy. Ibishi. And that was what he did throughout while the trade trip, while the economic trip lasted. And then of course it became when the governor came back with the delegation. Well, it was a successful trip anyway. Give it to the governor. But when he came back, that was it became a popular joking point. Anytime the man comes calling at the governor's office, Ibishi.
Well, they are busy sharing the money. They are busy looting and going on different tour, getting extra code, etc.
So you think there are many Ibishis on that
on the list? Yes, list. Delegation. Ibishi, they are there. All right, the last one I take before we open the phone line. SGF, that is Secretary to the Government of the Federation, to Nigerians, keep faith. There's hope for Nigerians. There is hope for Nigeria. Enough of the sermonizing. Yes, don't give us sermons again and sweet talks, because most times those in government, your actions doesn't really reflect your statement. It's not in tandem with what you have said. It's the opposite, direct opposite of what you are saying. We open the phone line, but that will be quickly after this commercial break.
Mákindé kórè dànù. mo rí.
àní ṣèyí ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀.
ìjọba ìpínlẹ̀ ọ̀yọ́ lábẹ́ ìṣèjọba gómìnà mákindé ti ṣe àgbékalẹ̀ ètò ìrànwọ́ owó ẹlẹ́ẹ̀ẹ́dẹ́gbẹ̀ta mílíọ̀nù náírà lábẹ́ ètò kórímọ́tàlú sefa. ètò ìrànwọ́ owó yìí wà fún àwọn oníṣẹ́ ọwọ́ àti olókoòwò kéékèèké ní ìpínlẹ̀ ọ̀yọ́. ọ̀fẹ́ sì ni fọ́ọ̀mù má ti sanwó fẹ́nikẹ́ni. ìwọ náà dìde fúyà láti gba fọ́ọ̀mù rẹ lónìí láwọn ilé ìfowópamọ́ yíká gbogbo ẹkùn ìdìbò tó wà ní ìpínlẹ̀ ọ̀yọ́. fún ẹkùn ìbàdàn full range microfinance bank ìwó road ìbàdàn àti òkèbọ́nà microfinance bank òkè àdó ìbàdàn. fún ẹkùn ọ̀yọ́ ìsàlẹ̀ ọ̀yọ́ microfinance bank ọ̀yọ́. fún ẹkùn ìbàràpá excel microfinance bank èrúwà. nẹ́kùn ògbómọ̀ṣọ́ katikas microfinance bank katika ògbómọ̀ṣọ́. nẹ́kùn òkè ògùn zone 2 kátúgbà microfinance bank saki. nẹ́kùn òkè ògùn zone 1 ẹ̀bẹ̀dì microfinance bank ìṣẹ́yìn. kí ló tún dúró dè? tètè lọ gba fọ́ọ̀mù tiẹ̀ náà lónìí. àmọ́ o rí dájú pé o tẹ̀lé ìlànà àti òfin tó rọ̀ mọ́ ìlànà ètò ìrànwọ́ owó sefa ìtura ìpínlẹ̀ ọ̀yọ́.
Conversation.
0805-500-9850. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Seun.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Tola.
Good morning, Babadidayo.
Thank you very much. The peace of the Lord will be with you.
Amen.
Because you love peace for this country, you love sanity, you love everything good for this country. But I want to say, peace of God is always with those who are godly and who love peace. No peace for the wicked. The Holy Read says, no peace for the corrupt people. No peace for the wicked people. No peace for thieves. No peace for armed robbers. No peace for pen robbers. No peace for those who embezzle our money. Oh God. The incessant on ending corruption in Nigeria, killing Nigeria as a country, killing Nigerians as a people. embezzling COVID-19 intervention grants, embezzling homegrown feeding funds for school children, embezzling fuel fund, embezzling security funds. Oh God of mercies. Oh God. What a country. Which type of country? Building a befitting residence for the vice president costing about 15 billion naira. Why? 2.8 billion naira for publicity in a country whose people are multi-dimensionally poor, a country nicknamed as poverty capital of the whole world. Why this, for God's sake? Debt servicing is costing greater percentage of our budget. Not to pay the payment of loan now. No road, no electricity, no employment. Education is down. Every sector is down. And 1,411 delegates going to Dubai for climate change summit to be sponsored by the government. Why? Because God, I think He has given us up, giving us a reprobate mind, immoral mind, wicked mind, devilish mind, and the reason the leaders are misbehaving.
Baba, we understand
God,
your.
Nigeria.
Thank you, Baba.
Yeah, sorry. Well, if you ask me, I will go ask. 0805 500 9850.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. Mr. Seun, Mr. Tola, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. John.
John from Iloni.
Good to have you, sir.
Mr. Seun, Mr. Tola, please, is there any hope in this country again? Because we are already in December. This is the time we ought to be hearing good news. But what we continue to see and hear are news that is not palatable. Everything you have mentioned today comes to corruption. Over 1,000 delegates to Dubai. We keep trying to build or renovate the VP house with 15 billion. I understand why the class captain, Baba Adedayo, is firing from all cylinders this morning. If you give that about 1 hour, you will exhaust it. What I want to say is this. For those making this country, for those who are eating up this country, because I don't want to use the language Mr. Odo Michael will say, if they want to renovate my house, so I will accept. So, they should remember that they are making a lot of children to join Boko Haram. They make a lot of children to become kidnappers. They make a lot of children to become armed robbers. Just because the money meant for everybody goes to them and their children. They did not trust their own children to have the brain to make it in life. That is why they decided to embezzle, so that their brainless children will have money to spend when they go or when they die. I want to tell them, when they become rich, they build fence around their houses. They have bulletproof cars. The children you make useless, one day they will come for their children and they will make life unlivable, because you have breed a lot of criminals, and those criminals will come back for your children. Good morning.
Thank you, Mr. John from Ilori.
There is always reward, good reward for good works, and nemesis, repercussion for the bad ones. Whatever you sow, you shall reap. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Kele Balabi from Alaka Sheboru. I just want to go on the way of a Labour Party candidate for February 2023 general election. He believes that the federal government for sending the number of delegates to the Dubai conference. He said, why we compete with them in numbers? We can't compete with them in development. He said, our budget for this year for 2024 is about 33 billion, while those of China is 4 trillion naira. How are we competing with those countries? State human capital development is the human capital development of China is 2,068 per euro per head, while our own is $165. So you can't compete with those people, and then those who went for the delegate, they have nothing to do with them. They are just wasting resources. Secondly, he said number of people living in poverty in Nigeria is more than that of China. It's more than that. How are you competing with them? Secondly, on the building of new VVT barrier for the vice president, why are we wasting money at these resources when people cannot find a square meat to eat? This government should treat their step. Many people are crying. Have a nice day.
All right, thank you.
0805 500 9850.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Ojo Michael.
If Baba Adedayo is the class captain, what was the position of Ojo Michael and Mr. John? Or Lenatamont? Yes, they want to spend 15 billion naira on befitting edifice for the VP. Is there anything wrong with the present one? And if there's anything wrong with the present one, let them renovate it now. If they renovate that, it will cost up to that. It's better for them to renovate that now. That's Brother Shima really said. It is shameless if they are building another building for the VP. For what? When there is abject poverty in the land, it is absolutely wrong. Yes. Secondly, on climate change, I've been ruminating in my heart for a very long time. Is there any climate change in Nigeria? I'm from Osun State, from far away, Ejesha land. Now, I traveled home last year, December. Even since I was born there, when I traveled there last year, there's nothing like anything changing climate. So why are we like this in Nigeria? I'm not surprised. Mr. Tinubu said, Mr. President said, he will build it on the legacy of his predecessor. I'm not surprised. God bless you.
Well, sure. About this time in the past, it used to be much colder than it is now. So maybe the climate change they are talking about.
Yes. Does that mean that Harmattan would not come again?
You know,
it usually comes November or September, October, November, and is now at least getting to January or February.
That is climate change.
So what is the difference?
And the kind of Harmattan that cracks your lips in those days.
So that's the justification for 1,411 delegates.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, my brother. This is Chris calling from Ikene.
Oh, Mr. Chris, been a while, Mr. Chris. Good to hear from
thank you. Thank you. Here and there. Honestly, my heart bleeds that in this type of situation where you are going with over 1,000 delegates, how many delegates are the other countries bringing? Or is it only a conference for Nigerians? I wonder if other countries even come with half of what you are going with. I don't know whether they are going to use the stadium in that place for this conference. It is not good enough. On the billions of naira for Chetima's house, is he homeless in Abuja? Former vice president used a house in Abuja, whether a good house or whatever. Can't they just renovate and put this man there? He has his own, all the governors, there's none that has no house in Abuja. They should try and listen to the cries of Nigerians, honestly. They should try, because when people are living under the bridges, people cannot eat well, they can't sleep well. On the issue of doctors leaving the country, I want the government to have a change of heart, because to train a doctor in this country, I am one person that is experiencing it. It's not easy. Let them try and they get these doctors engaged. Thank you and God bless.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chris.
0805 500 9850. 0805 500 9850.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Bagman. Mr. Shagam today. I'm calling from Kodaba.
Good morning.
There's this Lagbaja song that says, these people came to enjoy, and they came to enjoy themselves and to enjoy till they leave. So, and the last part of the song said, the songs explain everything. They don't care whether you want to pay school fee, whether some people have not eaten, whether some people have not been paid, some pensioners that they don't care. All they know is just to put themselves where there's soup and lick the soup and let the soup finish. That's all. So we love this thing in Scotland. Let us keep praying. So thank you.
Well, to some of our politicians or public office holders, the luxury, the comfort that they want to enjoy here on earth, on taxpayers' money, you wonder if they should even die at all, if they should go to the one beyond. If you are not sure of what will befall you there, why not Kukuma stay put here and enjoy it forever? You can't live forever, that's one. This extravagant, stupendous lifestyle of the selected few at the detriment of the commoners, it must stop. It must stop.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Alef Were.
How are you, Mr. Nwere?
about 1,600 delegates to Dubai. Are you surprised? They have hotel there. The people are not in the hotel. The money go in their pockets. Why people are suffering in Nigeria? They keep on telling you have a patient. Do another thing. Deceiving Nigeria. About we care arrangement. You go around for the government. We commission to recover. Nothing else. I don't know about the APC government. They keep us off Nigeria. I don't know. Hope is lost. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
Can we squeeze one more in? 0805 500 9850. 0805 500 9850. Okay, the very last one. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning, Mr. Tola.
Less than a minute, please.
This is Mr. Oluyolefm from Iwajowa.
Good to have you.
It has been apparently shown that the political office holder in Nigeria are so heartless, unscrupulous set of people who care not for his people. Is it simple that we voted them in, or is it cowardice that we do not beat them facially in combat? But I know for sure when God is ready to pack them all, there won't be anybody to rescue them.
All right, thank you. Tola is unscrupulous, a title. I think it's a befitting name for them, Avi.
Right, we have to go.
We have to go.
We'll be back same time tomorrow morning, God willing. My name is Tola Teriba.
I am Seun Oyelo. Thanks for always enjoying conversation with us. Next is Spotted Beat, and Boluwaji Ogunmola is already in the studio. Action-packed weekend, ready to deliver. Boluwaji, good morning to you.
Good morning. Yes, good morning, Chair. Beautiful morning to you, Tola. Action-packed weekend, like you said, Chair. A lot of games we come up with. Interesting one at that. And what a way to end the weekend in the Premier League. That fantastic encounter between Manchester City and